Everyone, it's Shari Carroll here for SimonsSaysStamp.com with a holiday card idea using the 2013 holiday card kit inspired by Tim Holtz. To start things off, I'm using the Tim Holtz watercolor paper, iced spruce, and also the evergreen bough distress inks. And I'm just going to go ahead and squiggle some of the color onto my work surface here. I've had some of you ask what this work surface is, and it's just a plastic placemat, and it just looks like a tile, but it's not actually. So what I've done is I've squirted my inks with some water, and now I'm just dragging my paper through the mixture to pick up some of the color. And I want this to mix really well, so I'm going to go ahead and squirt my paper with some additional water and just go ahead and move these inks around and let them blend. The combination of these two colors are really gorgeous, and I also really like the Tim Holtz watercolor paper because it's a really nice brilliant white. So go ahead and tap the paper, and then you're going to shoot it with the heat gun just to dry it a bit. You can continue dipping your paper into the mixture and drying it in between, and this will give you a nice watercolor effect. If you feel your color's too dark, you can go ahead and spray it with a little more water, and then once again dry it with your heat tool and move those inks around, and you get really nice layering of color. To continue with the winter theme, I have my snowflakes here, and I do have the cling stamps from this holiday card kit. You can either get the cling or the clear. And my panel is completely dry now, and I will go ahead and use my anti-static bag and just go over this really well so that my embossing powder doesn't stick to areas that I don't want it. And then I can go ahead and ink up my stamp with some Versamark ink. Make sure that I get it really well stamped, and I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to stamp 3 images all at once, and then I'll spread my embossing powder on. So once I have my first set of snowflakes stamped, I can go ahead and re-ink my stamp up with my Versamark and stamp again. Once I have my panel completely stamped, I can go ahead and spread on my white embossing powder, and this is the Hero Arts embossing powder. I keep it in a tub. And then I can tap it off with my spoon. And as you can see, some of my background is still white, and so it really looks nice with the snowflakes. So make sure you get off any extra powder that might have stuck where you don't want it, and tap again. And then you can heat it with your heat gun. And I do like to use the Milwaukee heat tool for my heat embossing. It melts the plastic really quickly. So now I'll just go ahead and shoot some heat on here, and that'll give me my embossed snowflakes and finish off my background. In the stamp set, there's a really pretty Merry Christmas, and it's a cursive handwriting. It's really gorgeous. And I've torn a white piece of paper here to create a snowbank. For this, I'll be using some silver embossing powder. So right now I'm inking this up with my Versamark. And I can go ahead and center this onto my snowbank. And I'm sorry for the glare from my light up above, but once I have that positioned, I can go ahead and press that down. Since I don't use the silver that often, I use my white powder more often, and I keep that in a tub, but I use a piece of paper underneath me for when I'm using the silver. Then once I have my piece ready, I can go ahead and sprinkle my powder on, and I'll use a piece of paper that's underneath me to go ahead and help funnel that back into the container. But once I have my piece ready, now I can go ahead and heat set that again with my Milwaukee heat tool. Next, I want to add a little bit of color to my piece here, and I'm going to use the Evergreen Bough ink. You could use also the Ice Spruce if you want. So I'll just go ahead and add this ink to my stamp. And before I stamp it, I'm going to spray this with some water. I want to make sure I have everything out of the way. And so you can use your mini mister. You could also use some Perfect Pearls, which is also included in the kit, and that will give you a nice shine. So here I've sprayed mine with some water. And next I'll go ahead and dry off my table just a little bit, and now I'm going to stamp this right over my silver embossed greeting. When I'm stamping an image that has a water mixture, I do like to let it set into the paper a little bit. And once I'm done stamping, you can see how my greeting has resisted the image on top. So this year I'm all about Christmas trees. I keep doing these little Charlie Brown trees, and I could not wait to use this tinsel to decorate a tree. I have cut some strips of the coordination papers that are also included in the kit, and now I am going to attach some of these cut pieces of tinsel with my tiny attacher. And the tiny attacher is just perfect for this because you really don't see the staples once you've put it in, plus it really secures this tinsel in place. I've aligned my tree to the right side of this panel so that I could make sure my tiny attacher could reach all my tinsel pieces as I put them together. So from here, I'll just keep adding little pieces of tinsel, and I'll just go ahead and measure it up to the pieces of paper that I've already cut and use my tiny attacher each time to put them down. To finish things off, there are also some mirrored stars in the kit, and I'll be using some glossy accents just to attach my star. So I'll just go ahead and just squirt out a little dot or two, and I'll cap that off, and I can just go ahead and lay my star right onto the glossy accents just at the top of that tree trunk. I'll be mounting my snowbank onto the card using some foam squares for a little added dimension, and I've also cut a card from the Coordinations cardstock that's also included in the kit. So here's another look at my finished card. I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial using the 2013 Holiday Card Kit inspired by Tim Holtz. Thanks for watching.